Yeah, so the Alberta Transport Association, our AMTA, is really advancing hydrogen projects for industry. So we're advancing it on behalf of the commercial drivers and the end users. So we've got a number of hydrogen projects that we are completing for industry to create awareness of hydrogen vehicles, to understand and to educate, as well to have them experience and drive and trial the vehicles. And then we're gathering third-party data so that it's not necessarily OEM data that's listed on a website, but instead industry data gathered from real world operations. And then building that ecosystem so that we can advance safety first, that safety first mindset with hydrogen transportation. So we've got about 7 projects right now that we have on the go. One of them is the Alberta's Zero Emission Truck Electrification Collaboration, or AZETEC. And through this project, we, along with a huge team of individuals, are designing, testing, and operating 2 heavy-duty fuel cell electric vehicles that are Canadian weights. There's also a hydrogen production component. So these are made in Canada trucks. With Ballard and Dana Enidime Almond. They support Canadian weights. They eliminate that need for a payload reduction, which is seen with a lot of fuel cell vehicles. It's Canadian ranges, and it also will be operating in seasonal conditions that we have here in Alberta or in Canada. So there's a lot of economic profiling that's being done and data collection from Transition Accelerator U of A, U of C. As well, we're doing the hydrogen part, a hydrogen production made from Alberta natural gas with Suncor and with HTEC. And then the carriers involved in this project are Bison and Trimac. What we're finding as an end user is the regulatory and the permitting hasn't been done before. So we're working with Intertech, we're working with AMTA. Big thanks to Andy Barnes from our team, who is doing a lot of that heavy lifting and understanding what exists is in permitting and regulations and what is needed in permitting and regulations. And then taking that on even to the CTA level so that we can have some harmonization across Canada, hopefully, with these permitting and regulations. Another thing that we're looking at is, I don't know if it's a unique challenge, I think it's a challenge had by everybody, is the hydrogen supply. So what we really need with these projects is really a redundancy in supply so the vehicles can operate on a reliable basis. So we are working with Suncor, but Suncor had brought Air Liquide in. We've also worked with Air Products, and we've worked with Azola so that we have that reliable hydrogen supply. So hydrogen is a critical path for decarbonization and for net zero mobility, specifically for Alberta and for Canada. If Canada is not involved early, we're going to be left out because we're a smaller market, and we need to have technologies that are developed for our vehicle ranges, for extreme weather. So that is a critical thing that we have to do, is bring these technologies into Canada and to let OEMs know that we are a place that wants to advance hydrogen. The recent political support for the environmental benefits to our society, I guess, have changed, specifically within the US leadership. And these are going to provide a little bit of barriers for industry for the next couple of years and slow down some of that progress that has been made. But hydrogen is a critical item for that decarbonization. So I can really see that over the next 10 years, that seems like a long time, but it goes by in a flash of an eye, where really the next two-ish years, maybe 3-ish years, are still going to be developing this immature, non-existent ecosystem with the supports for drivers, the supports for first responders, the free support for tow trucks, and understanding how these initial technologies are operating on our roads. I can see that by the time 3-4 years is coming, that there will probably be that stronger adoption that might tip that scale into it being a viable economy over the next 7 years. So right now, as AMTA, we're looking at trialing and understanding the vehicles and providing real-world operational data for carriers and fleets so they understand how these vehicles can actually benefit them. We have been working in the build out of infrastructure and divining where vehicles, heavy duty vehicles, will be operating so that we know where the fueling stations should be located. And also identifying interested partners, because sometimes an interest partner will come up in a municipality or an area that will allow that to thrive for fuel development. So never ever overseeing that unexpected project partner. So I think one of the projects that we did, the hydrogen vehicle demonstrations, was transformational for our organization. We were able to identify that fuel cell electric vehicles will support heavy duty transportation. We had a couple of vehicles that we were trying. The vehicles worked on the road. They were able to pull the loads. It was very different than what drivers were used to, so there's a lot of learning that needs to be done. There'll be a learning curve. An example would be, I know Sobeys had a project and they had two drivers that were on the same route, and one driver was able to make it there with 30% of their fuel. The other driver was at 70% when they got there. So there's going to be a big learning curve for that end user and understanding how to efficiently drive the technology. It's different than what they're currently using. The fuel cell electric vehicles supporting heavy duty transportation. It's a session that I'll be hosting. We are going to be taking a look at a number of fuel cell electric vehicles and hydrogen diesel dual fuels that we have been operating over the past 5 years, I guess now, in the Edmonton region. So taking a look at those vehicles, and the presentation will look at trial data that has been collected with regards to quantitative data on kilometers driven, fueling times, different things like that, as well as qualitative data, taking a look at the drivers' experiences and what they're finding in industry. We'll be able to share operational experiences with those vehicles and just be a valuable resource, hopefully, to those individuals that are interested in advancing the vehicles.